views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Good evening and welcome to the Bronx Buzz. This is BronxNet's program where we talk to writers, journalists, photographers, videographers, authors, anybody involved in creating Bronx media. And the whole idea is so that you get some insight as to what they're thinking about, what they're doing, what their concepts are. And tonight we are going to have a show that you must not miss. And I said, see, they like the pun. That is because it is about this incredible new book, 111 Places in the Bronx that you must not miss. And I have lived in the Bronx all my life. There are places here I am embarrassed to say I've never been to, but apparently I must not miss them. Anyway, Kevin Fitzpatrick is here. Nice to have you with us, Kevin.
Thanks for having us back
and,
on.
Can we use the word much beloved, the much beloved Joe Conzo Jr., who is a photographer and one of the great Bronxites for about 100 different reasons. Gentlemen, you were here before. Tell me, Kevin, about, for people who don't remember when you were here, what is the book about, where is it at, and why is Gary so excited about it?
Well, the book is part of a series, Gary. There's more than 200 of them around the world called 111 Places. Started in Cologne, where 11 is a lucky number. And so they said, well, you can't do a book just on 11 places, let's add 100. So this book is part of a series like Tokyo, London, Madrid.
Oh, really? Yeah, I had no
Bronx.
idea. Mm-hmm. So you got the idea?
I was approached, and then I submitted a proposal, which was accepted, and then I did the whole 111 places list. Then Joe got the gig, and then we went through the list, and Joe refined it and made it even better.
You told me beforehand, don't listen to this, you told me beforehand that you said he was really the only choice to be the photographer for the book. Tell me why.
There was no backup plan. There was no, absolutely
Joe had to do it.
Yeah, he had to do it.
He's drafted. And why?
Well, I mean, Joe is the Bronx photographer, and it's not just about performances, it's about people, it's about places. And as a lifelong Bronxite, which I'm not, Joe knows everybody. I mean, we could be anywhere. We were in the Yankee Tavern, Joe ran into somebody. We'd be walking on the street, Joe knew them. And
well,
so
even better or worse, Joe probably had a photograph of them somewhere in his vast archive.
So that opened a lot of doors. But it was kind of funny when we were going around the city. I remember one time, I always have my notebook, and Joe has his camera, so who did I get mistaken for?
The landlord or, a real estate guy. Yeah.
Well, listen, we're going to ask Joe about it. This is the book. And so on one side, it's got like Kevin's writing, and on the other side, these unbelievable photographs, and we're going to show you some of those photos. What I like about it, and Joe, I'm going to ask you about it, is let's see. We'll pull out, I don't know what place, the Eugene O'Neill movie home, okay, who even knew. The pictures are not your standard pictures of, okay, here's the place you should, like a travel thing.
I had to work within parameters to shoot this book. And that pushed my photography skills to the limit. I mean, they all had to be vertical shots. They had to say something, and that's just the style that they use for the book. So that pushed me in terms of my photography skills, and I'm glad. I love challenges and stuff. Natural lighting, trying to tell the history of, through the photograph to reflect Kevin's writing, so that, that was fun.
It was fun, but also, again, took you out of the realm of like a traditional tourist book.
True.
Well, for example, the house you mentioned is 21 Tier Street in City Island.
I had no idea.
Which is always in the movies. It's always on TV shows. But people only see it from the outside. It has a gorgeous...
that's exactly what I meant, and that was your challenge, right?
True. We met the owner, who was a wonderful woman, who said, come on in. And so we're like, this is like eye-popping.
How did, and I don't know who needs to answer, how did you choose where you went, you know, because there's 111, you know, in the book. This is just a picture of it. There's 111 in the book, but there's thousands we could all.
Well, I
think
made
about.
the list of 111, then the publisher accepted it, then Joe got hired, and then Joe and I went through the list, and Joe said, well, that place can be replaced by this, the food here is better at this place, and so we substituted a number of places. And then over the course of the several months we were working on it, about a year, places closed or places weren't open, places fell off the list, and then, or new places opened, like the Lit Bar was one of the last places we added.
Well, you couldn't be more recent or more current than that.
Fantastic.
And you had your launch there and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. Joe, that kind of thing must have been exciting for you because not only, you know, it's an interesting place, it's an important place, but that was kind of part of, you know, the development of the Bronx, the new Bronx. So not only did you show some historic places, you got to show some stuff that,
Some new places, and you know, again, you
which
know,
for you is a passion.
yes, it is a passion.
So what were you gonna say?
Photography. The book itself is just, you know, I like to describe it as a historical guidebook. You know, being a lifelong Bronxite like you, I didn't know half these places existed, or you know, my favorite discovery was the Lincoln Memorial was built here on Willis Avenue.
It's
That is
the Piccirilli brothers.
exactly, and that blew me away.
All right, now before we run out of time, and our second guest, by the way, is also a wonderful photographer. I want us to just show some of these. We're gonna play a guessing game if Gary can guess where they are, and if I'm wrong, that's fine. Then I'll go check out the book and we'll find out. Anyway, so this first one, I'm guessing this is the Mott Haven Library.
Very good.
Very good. Gary
good.
got it right.
The first Carnegie Library in the Bronx.
What is extraordinary about the photo and the presentation of it, again, you didn't stand outside and get a nice picture of the exterior. And here's this second one, of course, is that music store.
Amadeus.
Amadeus Music Store. And again, not a picture of the music store, but a way to just characterize what it is. I'm looking, it just reminds me of when I was in radio and we used to have the little cartridges with the ads on it. Now this one, I have to tell you, I don't know. This, oh, is that in front of Yankee Stadium somewhere?
Yep, that's the hybrid
Is that the
Doughboy.
old Yankee Stadium or the new Yankee Stadium?
That's new. That's the Doughboy sculpture from World War I. It was missing for 40 years, and it just was brought out last fall by the New York City Parks Department.
And so my not knowing, was that necessary for me to get lectured by my friend Joe just now? Like, oh, Gary, how did you?
Well, listen, you know,
It's new.
It's new, but it plays a historical, you know.
I'm joking. It's just, you know, a little Bronx Tude comes out. That's only fair. 111 Bronx Tudes. Nonetheless, this is one of my buddies. This is Ron Turner.
Ron Turner,
from
Focal Point Gallery.
Why don't you have a word about our common friend Ron and why? Again, not a picture necessarily of the place, but this is what the place is
Right.
about.
He's just a phenomenal artist, photographer, sculptor that's been running Focal Point Gallery in City Island for, God knows, 30, 40 years.
This happily, I have no idea what this is or why this is in there. This more looks like a person than a place.
That's
but-
Wendy from New York Pole Dancing.
Okay.
Because when I was
New
looking
York pole dancing is in the Bronx.
in Mott Haven,
Yeah.
when I was looking at the Baltimore book, they had the Michael Phelps Swimming School. So I said, what school can we have in the Bronx? I said, this place. And she's wonderful. It's a great business. They're doing really well. And it was very, very fun to go to this store.
Joe, can you just comment either on taking this wonderful photograph and also even the why this belongs in this book?
Well, I mean, she's becoming part of the community. She's been there for a while, and she has phenomenal classes. And shooting something like that, you know, you have to get the right shutter speed, the right lighting, this, that, and the other, be respectful, and, you know, so I think I accomplished that.
And also show off the athleticism.
Yes.
She's ripped. She's
Yes.
incredibly athletic and such a
Yes.
wonderful, nice person, too.
Incredible. Listen, this could be any number of places. I don't want to start guessing.
Joe's Place.
Oh, that's Joe's place.
Joe's Place. Another, you know,
I
establishment.
don't want to count how many places I have actually had margaritas in the Bronx. That's
Yeah.
another. 111 places Gary had margaritas in the Bronx.
Yeah, but margarita with mofongo and lobster
Yes,
tail.
there you go. There you go. That I haven't done every night.
Gary, we had to eat all the food in the book.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
And every bar, we had to actually have a drink at every bar. At least I did, so.
Well, that's good. Well, But again, not a picture of Joe's place. So when you read the book, there's really something to
Substance, yeah.
get in. Wow, look at this.
Have you been there?
I have not. Goodness
That's the
gracious.
Dörfner Judaica Museum at the Hebrew Home, which has a fantastic art collection. And
Yes, I've been to the art collection. I would not have recognized this as part of it.
And you would think it's just religious items, but they have a lot of modern art. There's Andy Warhol, there's Rauschenberg. They have a really great collection. It's open to the public
Right.
at the Hebrew Home in Riverdale.
This appears to be a Torah that was burned. I'm
And
unfortunately
saved.
guessing in some, some
was-
horrible
It
incident.
was taken out of Nazi Germany, yes.
Wow. I'm just going to let that pregnant pause.
But again,
live
in the
for
Bronx.
itself.
In the Bronx.
In the Bronx.
It's beautiful.
Wow. Now this I am not going to know. Oh, this could be the lit bar.
Yes.
Yes.
Whoa! Because I actually was there, and actually that's good because when I was there it was not open yet, so that's what it looked like.
No, and kudos to Noel Santos and her
Yes.
team because they have a fantastic space, really well curated bookstore with incredible titles, graphic novels, books of every kind of stripe. It's
And the other thing that I really loved in there and is that the selection of books is really geared for the people I think that Noel would like to see come in, right? About the Bronx, about the history of the Bronx, about the various dynamics that we have, about ethnicity, identity, and all those kinds of things. All right, we have time for one more. I'm sorry, I know we have another guest, and I don't want to eat up everybody's time. But there are 111. Stick around, we'll do them all. Speaking of the Piccirilli brothers, this is Piccirilli Place. So, Joe, why don't you fill us in?
Again, this is something that I learned doing this book, that, they built the Lincoln Memorial, and, as a kid going, taking the school trips up to Washington, D.C. and seeing the Lincoln
that
Memorial.
came out of the Bronx.
It came out of the Bronx.
For me, and we'll go back to the book, what is really exciting about that photograph, the photograph is interpretive. It's not like you could have shown a picture of all the statues
yeah,
they've done,
could have.
of the Lincoln Memorial, for example, and that would have been appropriate, but this picture gives it
about the place.
Bronx look.
Yeah.
Right.
and there's maps in there to get to all the locations.
There are maps. It is just an incredibly wonderful volume. I got a list here. July 29th, there'll be a talk.
Mott Haven,
Where in Mott Haven?
the historic district.
You'll be in the district, which I'm hoping is one of the places we got to assume. September 21st at Van Cortlandt Manor, where George Washington did sleep, in fact. Be quiet, he might still be there. And then in September also you'll be at the Bronx Documentary Center. Listen, there's a website. How do we find out? What do we do?
111places.com.
111places.com. All I care about are the places in the Bronx that you must not miss.
By the Tats Crew. Tats Crew did the cover.
Oh, they did the cover.
Yes.
111 artists you must not miss in the Bronx.
Gary,
Kevin,
thank you so much. Thank you.
Rocksteady with the South Bronx from the great Joe Conzo. Pick it up, check it out. Our home, the borough of the Bronx. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family? This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry. Go along, son.
it's always worth it.
Whoa, master!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea. Tess from Vivo's Do It Your Selfie, where we recreate the hottest looks from today's biggest music videos.
After cleaning out our closet, we have a lot of clothes we don't wear anymore.
Like this old t-shirt.
It's not garbage, it's actually a brand new rug.
And to make it, all you need to do is cut, tie, and glue.
Cut the t-shirt into strips.
Tie the strips into knots.
And glue the knots to the bath mat. I love it. Give your garbage another life.
And recycle.
Hey, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. It must be Great Bronx Photographer Day or night because my good buddy Marisol Diaz is with us. Nice to have you with us, Marisol. We've known Marisol for how many years? 100.
I was calculating on the way over, and I think we met back around 1999.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not going to do the math. It actually is 20 years.
It's
And
20 years.
probably at that time you were doing Enfoco.
I was working at Enfoco, yes.
And tell me, were you one of the founders of Enfoco?
No.
Okay,
Enfoco
tell me
was-
about Enfoco and what your experience was there. Because in
Sure.
my knowledge, that's what kind of helped launch you into what you do.
Yeah, there are a few factors, but I would give Enfoco a lot of credit in my career as a photographer. So Enfoco started in 1974 by a few Puerto Rican photographers who realized that the art that they were seeing around them, specifically photographs, was not representing the Puerto Rican community as they knew it. So they got together and started photographing their community through their eyes.
How ironic we had Joe Conzo as the previous guest, but I
Yes.
think you could put him on. So we're doing the whole family today.
Yes.
Tell me about what you learned from working with Enfoco about the nature of the Bronx, about the people of the Bronx, and photography that launched you into a long career working for many publications, which now you are at Newsday and AM New York.
Yes. So what I learned the most there is self-worth as a photographer. And a lot of people don't give photo credit to artists, and they should. Even if it's your brother or sister who took the photograph, why not? Help them out. Give them, put their name out there.
We use the word RESPECT.
Exactly, respect. And that goes all the way around. The other thing is I learned how to develop my eye through Enfoco. And I didn't realize the influence into Rebecca Cooney, who was the photo editor, one of the photo editors at Newsday, saw my work and said, "Where did you work before? Like, where does this come from?" And I said, "Oh,
How did you do this?
How did you do this? Like, I know you work at the Riverdale
Right,
Press,
right.
but where is this?" And then I said, "Oh, I worked at Enfoco." And she says, "Oh my gosh, Charles Biasini Rivera." And I said, "Yes." He goes, "There's Enfoco written all over your work. It's Enfoco."
Well, that's interesting. Then I asked the right question because that is where I met you originally, and the concept of it is something that, in essence, you embody because you did the programs there, you represented them, and now you're using what you learned from the vision of the Bronx and everything else. Talk to me about your greatest joys, because now you shoot news, which are pictures of people taking ribbon cuttings or whatever. But what do you love to do in the context of your work?
Well, the great thing is I try and stay away from ribbon cuttings as much as possible.
And even if you are stuck in one, you will shoot it in a different way. I know that.
Yes, or I won't even send it because our paper really wants to know what's going on. So for instance, if in one of the textbooks, I teach at City College photojournalism, one of the textbooks, it states, okay, if there's a ribbon cutting, shoot it because it's there, but shoot other things. Shoot the people mingling. What's the connection? What's the human connection behind it? Something happened prior to ribbon
Which
cutting.
is what people really want to know about when it comes down to stuff. I mean, let's face it.
Yes, and there's more information there than anything else. One of my greatest joys is shooting regular people long-term projects. I tell my editors all the time that every time they send me out an assignment, which I don't know until I get an actual assignment in an email, is that it's an open classroom because I'm always learning. And that's one of the things I feel you have to do as a
pushing the
photojournalist.
envelope.
You push the envelope, go into places that you've never been before, meet people who are like you or not like you, have different stories. And it is a treasure hunt every single time.
And shoot old stuff in a new way is one way to look at it.
Yes.
I'm going to show a couple of pictures, and then we're going to talk about video. Don't go away.
Okay.
This, as I told you before the show, I have seen this photograph. This is a gorgeous photograph. It's one of the great Bronxites. Talk about this.
This is Dr. Roscoe Brown, a Tuskegee Airman who passed away a few years ago. Ironically, he was the Bronx Community College president when I attended and never met him. Later on in life, I'm working for the Riverdale Press, and I show up at his apartment to photograph him for the paper.
And
this
this
is
was,
in
I
his
guess,
apartment.
maybe his Medal of Freedom or something, which came
Yes.
from the government. And what a story it tells, looking at his hands. I mean, he was over 90 when he passed. Tremendous, tremendous, wonderful photograph. This next photograph, just to show you the range, is totally different. It's shot in black and white. Now, should I guess that this is Orchard Beach?
It is Orchard Beach. At times at the Riverdale Press, once a week, I had to come up with ideas for photo essays. And because I was a photo editor there and chief photographer, I was able to photograph them as black and white and get them run that way. So it was one day at Orchard Beach.
I'm going to show another look at Orchard Beach. What makes you say about a photo like this that rather than show it in color, I think I'm going to make it black and white?
Well, it's the feel, and it depends on the subject matter, but for the most part...
The feel?
Yeah, it's the
Boy,
feel.
I thought we were going to get a rule here, but we didn't get that.
There is no rule. My subjects dictate how they should appear.
Right.
And my job is to try to interpret what I'm seeing. And
This
that's what's
particular
going for.
photograph of Orchard Beach, boy, first of all, it's rarely that empty, or unless you go to the one of the sections far away. But how peaceful, how beautiful.
That was great.
Our borough of the Bronx. Now, this appears to not have been taken in the Bronx, but and total again, look at what we had, and now look at the range of work that Marisol does. What is this?
So
Who is this?
this is actually one of the people who was involved in building one of the buildings near the new World Trade
The World
Center.
Trade Center, yeah.
And we actually had a private tour. So that, I believe, was for AM New York.
This is, boy, is this ever a Bronx picture? And here's a couple of Bronx kids being Bronx kids.
And that was when I was working at the Riverdale Press, and they had just won, so there was a pie or shaving cream to the face.
So, short of squirting champagne, they went with the pie. I can appreciate that. Marisol, you have also now ventured into video. Of course, the access to the technology makes it very easy for anybody to do it. Talk about your interest, and then we're going to show a clip of a piece, a real fun piece that you did.
So a few years ago, I won a grant through Bronx Council of the Arts, and it was with DCA to photograph and videotape. Department of Cultural Affairs.
Okay, just clearing it up for people.
And my proposal was to photograph influential artists. And I'm going back 10 years ago. So I did that project, and I had to teach myself how to do video work.
And video and editing. We don't want to run out of time. I want to show. So this was Radio City Music Hall, backstage with the Rockettes. How many of us have dreamed of doing something like that?
And it's edited by Newsday video staff. So I have to give them credit for that because they're amazing.
But it's funny, as I looked at it, the pictures are as if they were beautiful Marisol Diaz Gordon still pictures. So let's take a look. Do we have a title? The Rockettes, backstage with the Rockettes?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Marisol Diaz Gordon.
This is our Stage Right Quick Change booth, and just as much energy that's going on stage is happening backstage as well.
We have our amazing dressers that will help us get in and out of our costumes because we are just as choreographed back here as we are on stage. And what I love is that we continue the legacy and tradition of the Rockettes because some of our former Rockettes are actually our dressers. So we have so much history within these rooms and within this building. It's so awesome to be a part of.
This is our new finale costume. The finale number is called Christmas Lights, and it's such a beautiful blend of innovation meets tradition for this particular number in the show. Our dress here is designed by Emilio Sosa, and the inspiration was vintage Christmas lights. It's just saturated in color and really sparkles like Christmas lights on stage. The dress here, custom designed to each one of us, has over 3,000 stones on it. We have beautiful headpieces that were hand molded to each girl's head. That has over 12,000 stones. And then our beautiful Leduca shoes have over 500 hand-glued rhinestones on them.
There you go. Marisol Diaz Gordon and the Rockettes. Must have been fun. I mean, backstage at Radio City Music Hall, who wouldn't want to see what it looks like?
You want to hear something funny about that
Sure,
really
of
quick?
course.
So I was going to college. I worked at Radio City Music Hall for 4 years.
Oh.
So I worked the elevator where they used to
Really?
take him backstage, and I was an usher, I was a phone operator, I worked corporate for group sales, and
So
then
it must
I
have
come
been coming back
It
home to
was
do that.
pretty funny.
Again, looking at the range of things that she shoots, we have time to show a few more photos. This is just something else. Talk about a contemporary picture. This is very recent, right?
This is about a year old, maybe
Year old,
less,
okay.
and they were becoming citizens.
Wow.
And that was on the front cover, I believe, of AM New York.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, just beautiful. I guess a similar picture, different ethnicity?
Believe this was May Day of last year, and May Day, it's supposed to be about workers' rights, but people took the opportunity to protest other things that they had on their mind, and this had to do with Puerto Rico, and basically it's suffering.
You know, really what stands out is funny, and not only the image in the picture and the bloodstained flag, but up at the top, Kellogg's. Boy, is that that's not an American photo. I don't know what is. Marisol Diaz Gordon, I got about 100 more pictures to show. We don't have time for them. What's next for you? Just keep doing the same thing?
I'm just going to keep doing this. I teach as an adjunct lecturer at City College in the spring, and I want to teach because I want to show up and coming artists what I learned and the seriousness of photojournalism, especially now.
We got to run. Marisol Diaz Gordon, thank you so much. One promise, you'll come back.
Definitely.
We're going to get another whole pile of pictures and she'll come back. Thank you so much.
Thank
you, thank you. I know, I guess we're over here. Thank you for joining us this evening on the Bronx Buzz. Please enjoy the photographs, not only in the book that we talked about, 111 Places in the Bronx You Must Not Miss, and also the great work of Marisol Diaz Gordon in AM New York and Newsday, wherever you see it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Good night.